So today we're going to talk about writing in high school. The last 3 podcast episodes that I did had Kay Chance as my guest. Then I took a short break for a few weeks over the summer, and now I'm back again, and I want to continue talking about writing just like we did with Kay. She is an expert. She's a writer, and she has graduated kids from her homeschool, so she knows lots of things about how to teach it. In this episode and the next episode, I am going to tell you my perspective on teaching writing in the high school years, because it's always great to have a lot of information about any topic that is as hard to do as writing is. I don't know about you, but I've been challenged by teaching writing to my kids, and especially in high school when it just seems so intimidating to think about because they have to be ready for college. And yet they're my kid, and so I have a hard time grading my kid, and I don't know what's good writing and what isn't good writing, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. I can tell you some of the things that I learned along the way. Alrighty, so the first tip that I have to give about teaching writing in high school is to be sure that you are encouraging lots of reading and starting that early on. You know, as soon as your kid can read, then let's be encouraging them to read and read and read, no matter what it is. I'm not one who says that you have to tell them what to read all the time. I'm one that says let them read what they find enjoyable. You can throw some things at them that might be a little bit different than what they usually read, but don't do that too often. And maybe don't even expect them necessarily to read those things cover to cover. Just expose them to them, at least in the elementary and middle school years. Don't require them to read anything. You can expose them to different genres and see what they like and don't like, but just get them reading. Why is reading so important when it comes to writing? Well, obviously they're going to be building vocabulary. They're going to be learning just by osmosis, really, what good sentence structure looks like and how to build paragraphs and just all of the things that come with the English language. They may not know why something is right or wrong, but they'll be able to sense it more and more the more they read. And that's super helpful for those silly ACT and SAT exams, because that's a lot of what they do in there is they have the kid pick what is the right construction for something and what is the wrong construction for something. So they can know what to pick just sort of instinctively if they are very avid readers. So it can help. It just makes the whole writing process that much easier when they are seeing it done elsewhere over and over and over again for years and years and years because they are readers. So I do have a blog post about how to encourage your kids to love reading, and I will link to that in the show notes. Okay, so another tip for writing in high school is also something that is preparation to get ready for high school, and that would be to get them writing in elementary and middle school, but not for any kind of a grade. Just get them writing, putting the pencil to paper about whatever. Doesn't even really matter. Actually, it would be better if it's something fun so that they're not intimidated. So some suggestions would be find some writing prompts and just let them write for a little bit every day or a few times a week, where they're just writing a paragraph or two based on a writing prompt. And you can find those anywhere. Have them write a diary. Or maybe they just want to write a diary. Encourage that. Let them do that as little or as much as they want to. Show them what a diary entry could look like. Encourage them that there's no really one right way to write a diary. It's all about what they want to do. And just offer them that opportunity and see if they take you up on it. What about writing a diary of a book character? Now, this was an assignment that I had back in the day when I was in elementary school, and it was one of the most fascinating ones, one of the ones I enjoyed the most, and I actually remember it to this day. And that was that I chose, from The Witch of Blackbird Pond, I chose to write the diary of the sister of the girl who was being accused of being the witch. And I really related to that character. I don't know what that says about me, but I had a great time writing her diary. And even like when it got to the part where she got sick, I made it, I wrote I am too sick to write, and wrote it in really bad lettering so that it looked like she was actually sick. It was a fun assignment. That would be something that you could just have your kids do if they especially liked a given book that they've read. Have them write a diary going through the book and writing entries from one of the characters' perspectives, maybe somebody different than the main character. Lots of fun. What about stories that your kids can pass around? So maybe you write the first paragraph of a story and then you hand it to your kid, and they write another paragraph and they hand it to the next kid and they write another paragraph. And it doesn't really matter if they make sense. It's just a fun way to get everybody writing and having fun together. And it's very non-intimidating. It's just, hey, let's just make a story up together. All sorts of ways you can get your kids writing in elementary and middle school that are non-threatening, that don't involve a grade. Definitely point out what they're doing well. Hey, I really like this word you chose here. Or, hey, this sentence is really a lot of fun. You did a great job there. Just get them writing, and so that they're not intimidated by the process and they don't hate it, right? Like so many kids tend to do. Hey, I wanted to jump in here for just a minute to say that this episode is sponsored by Write Shop. What a better time to talk about writing, right? Is when we also have Write Shop as a sponsor. Now, we talked already about getting some writing prompts to get your elementary and middle school age kids just writing in general, not even necessarily for a grade, but just to get them writing. Guess what? Write Shop has a whole bunch of prompts that you can get via email. And so I'm going to put that link in the show notes. Make sure that you get it, because it's just going to be a very valuable resource for you to have over time. But I also wanted to take a second and show you a little bit about Write Shop 1 and 2, which are the middle and high school levels of the Write Shop curriculum. They have elementary as well, but 1 and 2 can be used in middle or high school. Let me walk you through one lesson really quick so you can see how this curriculum works. It's a step-by-step incremental way to help your kid build their skills in writing. Okay, so here's an example. Lesson 4, describing a circus performer. And there is instruction about what is going to be expected from this lesson, what the assignment will be. Then there's a brainstorming worksheet where your kid fills in how they want to describe this circus performer. Then there's what's called a skill builder worksheet. This is when we're dealing with one particular writing skill that's going to be the focus for this assignment, and your kid's going to practice it before they ever start writing the assignment. After they write the assignment, they get to check for themselves whether they've done a good job by going through the student writing skills checklist. That's included with every single lesson. And then you too get to check with the teacher writing skills checklist. And things are like followed instructions for this assignment, strong topic sentence, name and date in the upper right-hand corner. All of those things that make teaching and learning writing something that is intimidating because you don't think of everything. It's all included in the Write Shop curriculum. They think of everything for you so that you don't have to worry that you're missing something. There will be a link to Write Shop in the show notes, so definitely go check them out. I think it might be what you need to help you cover the base of teaching writing to your teen. Now, by the time they're in high school, though, it's probably a good idea to get them in some way, shape, or form some more formal writing instruction. And you can certainly do that online. There are lots of different programs out there with actual teachers that will give your kids feedback if you're still intimidated about the process of teaching writing. I recommend that you continue grammar instruction even into high school. A lot of people will give up on it after 8th grade. I think it's still important because some of those grammar concepts can get pretty fine-tuned, if you will, pretty detailed, and I think the high school brain is more able to handle those. And again, that's just more preparation for the ACT and SAT and CLT, as if they have really high-level grammar skills. So I do recommend that, but not everybody does it, and it's fine if you think that it's not that important. There are different types of writing that are going to be included in high school writing. The 5-paragraph essay is, I think, a great one. And you know what? I've been criticized for this, but in a blog post about teaching writing, I did talk about the 5-paragraph essay as something that is wonderful. And somebody said, no, don't leave them there. Well, You don't necessarily have to leave them there, but I think because it's so short, the 5-paragraph essay provides a lot of scope for really honing in on writing skills, making transitions between paragraphs, making sure that each paragraph has a defined topic, using literary devices like alliteration or hyperbole to make a point, learning how to use quotes and data in just a short format that's not too overwhelming and it's about a specific topic. I think that's a great way to hit a lot of the writing topics that we want our kids to learn. So you know what? If you ended up leaving your kid on the 5-paragraph essay for the entire time they were in high school, I don't think that would be a horrible thing. Yeah, a lot of people do want to move on to a research paper, but can I make a confession? My oldest kid never did a research paper. In fact, to be honest with you, most of my kids never did a research paper in high school. That's just me. It was really intimidating for me. But the ones that went on to college were able to create one in college. They learned how to do it there. And every kid who enters into college has a freshman composition course or a freshman writing course that they have to do unless they've placed out of it in some way. And so in that course, they're going to pick up all those things that you missed in high school. So as I tend to say most of the time, even writing in high school doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't have to be that scary of a deal when you know that there is that fail-safe that when they go to college, they're going to learn it there. Am I saying to neglect writing in high school? Not at all. But do feel better about whatever writing instruction you're giving them. Don't be as afraid that you're not hitting all the bases when you know that in college they're going to get to learn it even more and better. Other types of writing you could do in high school, creative writing. And you know what? That's another one that you could spend a lot of time on because it's more fun and your kid might be more motivated to do it. Writing about the literature that they're reading, similar to what we were already talking about as far as doing the diary of another character. There's all sorts of ways to write about the literature that they're reading. And it doesn't even have to be a separate writing course, right? It could be the literature course that they're taking, and it will probably have some writing ideas in there. So writing doesn't even necessarily have to be a separate course that your child works through. It can just be as part of their history or their science or their literature studies that they're also writing. But then the question comes up, well, how do I grade my kids' writing? Because if you're like me, there was no way I could be objective about it. So then how do we go about grading it? Well, that's going to be the topic of the next episode. We're going to talk about how to grade writing. I just was very trial and error about it for a long time. I was just flying blind until I found this one thing that made all the difference in the world. We'll talk about other ways to do it too, but this one solution was what worked best for me and helped me feel confident that I was actually grading the writing in a way that was providing valuable feedback for my kid. So we'll talk about that next time. Thanks for joining me today.